I'm Vasia Christoulaki. I'm a service designer at GRNet. And as Andreas was not feeling very well today, so he will not be with us, but we wish him to be well soon. And let me quickly share my screen. Okay, perfect. So we all had a full day of very interesting presentations. Many of you must be tired, so I'll try to keep it on the point and keep it short. So who we are? GRNet is a state-owned company under the auspice of the Ministry of Digital Governance. And as one of the biggest technological research and development centers in Greece, it has created since 1998 advanced infrastructures and cloud services. So based on this expertise and capacity, in 2019 in GRNet, the Directorate of Digital Governance was created. And from an initial team of around 5 people, we are now more than 30 people, and we are keep growing. And our departments, which are strategy, analysis, development, and co-creation, are formed around the main roles that are involved during the design and development of IT projects. And design lives in the co-creation and openness department, which I think tells a lot about how we want to approach the design of digital public services. But I'll be honest with you, we have to admit that we have our own silos, as EDITE is owned by state, so we have to follow some specific rules on how we organize our teams. But we want to overcome this problem. And our vision is to put people at the heart of what we do and design and deliver human-centered public digital services. So we started with an engineering approach, but we are moving towards a more design-led approach. And during this context, our directorate is undergoing a transformation process. So our main challenge is how can we gradually move from this engineering mindset to a decision-making design process which is highly led by user insights. And this whole transformation process, it's actually about helping people think differently about the challenges they face and move away from starting with a solution. And it is also about redefining what design means for us as a directorate. So now we are in the process of moving from understanding design as an artifact to understanding and utilizing design as a process, which is a major step. And our vision in terms of the design process is to move from nouns, from roles of our departments, as I call them, into verbs. So each verb, understand, design, and develop and implement, is actually one of the main phases that a digital project is undergoing. So we believe that in each phase, all roles and departments need to be involved, each role and each team member lighting up different sides of the problem towards the end solution. And to achieve this, we need to create a commonly accepted project process and ways of working and collaborating. And we need to understand each other and develop shared vocabulary and tools, because different disciplines commonly have a specific set of vocabulary they use, and you get stick to that. So this is where we are starting from. The process followed in our projects since recently starts with system analysis and design. During a loop of meetings, the project team and the client co-decide the main functionalities and use cases of the system and the service. And then we have the sign-off, and then, of course, the continuous development and integration, while also testing UIs with end users. And our main tool so far that we use in order to accommodate this process and mainly help us bridge the gap between design and development is the DigiGov CSS library, standardized CSS and JavaScript library, which is actually based on the material design systems. It was inspired and incorporated a lot of design elements and directions from Gov.uk, but of course its design is consistent and personalized to fit the branding of Gov.gr. What works well in this process? Design and front-end development are creating a common vocabulary and tools. And of course, in this way, we managed to have a quick process. So we managed to quickly move from functionalities to UIs in order to show these functionalities and test it with users. However, the end user is only involved at the very end of the process when all the main functionalities have been decided and are actually being developed. So in this stage, not many important changes can take place as the direction of the whole project has already been decided. Another thing that might sound a bit peculiar is our almost pixel perfect approach. So as I said before, moving quickly from functionalities to UIs. We all know that creating a UI might take a lot of time and energy. So instead of this, designers tend to use lower, higher fidelity wireframes in order to create a common place for collaboration. But on the other hand, someone could say that moving from functionalities to UIs also help us have a more quick process, so being more quick in order to provide what we want to develop to the development team. We are starting, yes. So we want to overcome these problems. And we believe that innovation lies at the fuzzy front end, at the initial stages of the design process. It's the stage where design research and ideation takes place in order first to form the service concept, decide which concept and which main functionalities should be further designed and delivered. So in our redesigned process, we are trying to bring the voice of the user in the very initial stages of the project and co-design co-design the main functionalities and the main concept of the service with them. But we also aim to keep what works well, and from our perspective, what works well is being able to quickly hand UIs to the development team. Adding stages. This is our new process that we are now actually refining and testing. And from our very small experience so far, these are the learnings that we would like to share with you. Adding stages at our project process during the very initial phase in order to provide more space for different ideas and innovation, it can also create frustrations between the people. It might seem like moving slower towards the solution, and of course uncertainty, which is a main element during this stage, it's a main characteristic, is something that non-designers are not very familiar with to manage, which can stress a team member who might feel lost for a minute or two. But we know that these issues are very common during a transformation process, and we are trying to overcome them with various ways and solutions. We understand that we need to create a process with short iterations and feedback loops in order to manage stakeholder expectations and being able to quickly provide initial insights from the user research and ideas, while also keep iterating the research and ideation phase. In this context, simple diagrams and tools like user journeys and service blueprints can bring the user and the project team together to discuss on main functionalities and the overall service experience before even moving to wireframing and creating very detailed user interfaces. So providing more space and time for research and ideation. But we also need to quickly move from the concept and functionalities to UI and quickly bring something tangible both to the developers and of course to the project owners and the client, who is a specific different ministry each time. To achieve this, adding to our material design library, we are also planning to use a visual HTML and CSS editor, so that designer can quickly work and provide ready-made solutions, which gives already a specific HTML and CSS code to the development team to further build on that. So we approach our design process on specific building blocks, that each building block provides a framework to the next stage and the next role to take and move on. In this way, we are trying to bridge the gap between the silos of our departments, while of course making the end users, which are in our case the citizens and public sector employees, a very important stakeholder and decision maker during the whole design process. But we still have a lot of work ahead of us to fully achieve our vision. So while developing the process, we are also in the stage of testing it into a very big scale project, which is the project of redesigning the back office IT systems that employees in CAPS use in order to serve the citizens. And using tools, as I told before, like user journeys or service blueprint, it's a very good way to bring together all the different stakeholders, make the intangible of the experience during the initial stage of the design process more tangible, and discuss more on that. So here, this is actually a service blueprint from the project from ECAP that I mentioned. So in the first row, you can see all the screens and the systems that are involved in the experience of the employee. In the middle, you can see a lot of insights regarding behaviors, which are the blue post-its, problems, which are the red post-its, initial ideas on specific points, on specific touch points, on specific UIs, which are the pink post-its, and further questions to explore during our next research iteration. And at the bottom of the picture, you can see the perspective of the system. So this brings us to the back end of the system, and also again some problems there and some initial ideas. And the big yellow circles are some more holistic, let's say, challenges, design challenges that we need to explore, which can help us wholly redefine the whole service concept. So we have ideas on specific touch points, and we have some design challenges that we need to further ideate on them that might change us holistically the direction and the concept of our service. Yeah, and as we know, innovation is a multidisciplinary team. We have now started creating a team of designers inside the directorate, but we need you. So we are, at the same time, we are also creating a community of designers who are passionate to shape the public services of the future. So if you would like to join us, if you would like to learn more about our approach, please feel free to either visit the link or scan the QR code and show your interest, and maybe we can meet in one of our next co-design workshops. That's it from me. Thank you very much.